Got ourselves a batch of shinies, Commander.
Welcome to Coordinated Fire Episode 25, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast where we like new things and are willing to politely wait in line to see them. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Episode 25.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Our quarter century.
It just flew. I think when you do them every week, they really start piling up.
Yeah, this is... Man, should we have planned something for this? We're going to figure out one of these moments
we get to
like
100.
Celebrate we're alive or something. No, that's awesome. That I saw it written in the notes and that hit when you said it. So that is super exciting. I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great too. Yeah, we got lots of great new stuff to talk about tonight.
You mean there was like an announcement or something?
What? We got 25 minutes for our game?
So for this episode, we're going to do our usual games played, but then we'll go into a breakdown of a draft tournament we have coming up. And then finally, we'll hit the elephant in the room with our breakdown of the Ministravaganza spoilers.
That sounds about right. I imagine every single cast you listen to this week is going to be talking about Ministrav and what's coming up. But we're excited too, so we're going to talk about it. Awesome games played. I think we had a pretty full house Thursday night.
Yeah, we had 3 games, all 3 tables at Dueling Grounds on Thursday, which is really great. That's what we generally like to see.
100%.
Titus and I threw down this week.
We did.
Titus, what was your list?
So I was playing Veer's Krennic again. So Veer's Stormtrooper Sergeant, Shore Troopers with Krennic, Death Trooper Specialist, and the Death Troopers. I don't know. I brought odds. We ended up playing on odds. I like the list a lot. Still kind of learning the ins and outs, but getting better about remembering my triggers. But I like it. I still think Veers has something to him. I mean, he could use some help, but he's not as bad as what I think the common perception is.
Mechanically, I think he's really cool. And again, when we did our primary breakdown, he's always been a primary that I think mechanically has been really great and a lot of fun. On my side, I continued my dive into playing Han. So I played General Han Solo with Ezra, Rebel Commandos, Jyn Erso with Bodhi Rook, and Baze and Chirrut. Really, really interesting pairing here. Han continues to be fairly good. I found on odds, it was a little bit more spaced out mission that wasn't great for his revenge trigger, but of course I'm playing somebody like Titus, who understands all of his ranges and he knows how to play around Han. So that might have been a little bit of a factor there. Jyn is really, really interesting. I don't know if I utilized her as well as I could have. I think Titus, you and I talked after about me not utilizing the double dash with the attacks and that kind of stuff. It was admittedly my first time playing her, but I think she's really, really cool. Baze and Chirrut and Commandos, of course, we know what they do. I'm interested in trying this list with secondary Luke over Bodhi next time I play it, just to kind of see what those differences are. Again, just my kind of deep dive here into Rebels and playing Han is continued to be a lot of fun.
I've never been disappointed with Luke. Not once putting him on the table.
Secondary Luke, yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple things. Haven't played much against Bodhi, and it's a very weird unit to play against, because it's like it feels like Bodhi's doing nothing, but at the same time he is the biggest pain in the butt to deal with because of the steadfast bubble. Like any of his activations are just awful, but then when he's just standing there, it's like, what can I do about this guy? He's so annoying.
When he is plunked and he is positioned well for other models, he is extremely annoying.
And then Jyn is something I need to get on a table because, boy, just a consistent source of healing is so up my alley. It's, I didn't realize how much healing that would be, and I want to try that so bad.
It was a crazy amount. I think a more condensed mission like Shifting or Sabotage Showdown, I'm interested to seeing how that healing can play out as well too, when things are kind of more compressed together and she has more range to maybe take off, maybe a damage here, but a condition there, or 2 conditions, and that really having a very positive effect on the game that way.
All right, so Kyle, what'd you get up to?
Man, I didn't play Veers, and I'm a little jealous.
Oh,
Guys, I've seen you play this list a few times now, and it's so close
It's
to
very
being
close.
there. I wonder, what does this look like if Veers was an 8 instead of a 7, or a 9 instead of a 7, based on what the kit
I
brings to
don't
the
think it
table?
changes because Stormtrooper Sergeant is such a key to the list.
Yeah, for Veers Krennic, for sure. Right, you have the near perfect secondary that 7 wants anyway.
If we had a
Sergeant,
5-point Stormtrooper, that might change.
like support.
Yeah.
Support.
Yes. Yeah, maybe one coming. What does that Morgan box look like? But I'm gonna assume those eras are not gonna be friendly to making that work anyway.
No.
I don't remember zombies in Rebellion era, but who knows?
They were in the Clone Wars era, though, so, like...
I guess we'll see, and that is for a conversation later in the episode. But no, I got a game against Ryan, and I put Mando Riff down on again. I love this list. I'm actually in love with this list. I learned with the first test game that I don't like it on odds, and I don't want it to be anywhere near Never Tell Me the Odds, which almost happened here again, but I won the roll off and was able to play it on Sabotage, and this list on Sabotage just is incredible. Ryan dipped into Empire, which was something he played a while ago a bit when like Iden first came out, but kind of jumped off of it pretty quick. But he played Moff Iden. I can tell you the reserve tax was not pleasant by any means. I have Dengar on this list exclusively to be able to safely reserve Dengar or Mando in a list that does not have much force to play with. But Ryan and I both ran at each other and did a lot of wounds. I think both of us ended this game with 4 or 5 wounds. It was very bloody, but the Weak Way Pirates were the hero of this story, and I am 3-4 games in with this list and exceptionally impressed with the Weak Way Pirates. It was kind of a back and forth struggle one. I had an early lead, but Ryan was able to kind of take that back. And then Weak Way Pirates, Ryan scored 4 on his turn, and then Weak Way Pirates were able to activate and flip me 3 points for me to score 5.
Nice. Because I've been hearing some conflicting things about them, like across Discords and whatnot. They are a very polarizing support that people either really like them or they're like, I don't get it.
I think it entirely depends on when you are attacking with them. If you are getting 3 down their tree, and that is very dice dependent. They have a few different ways to get some help with that, but their attacks are 6 dice. If they're able to get their pack hunter, they're adding 2 to those melee rolls, which makes a huge difference. But if you're lucky on the expertise and you roll 1 on that 6 dice attack with a decent roll otherwise, they can get surprisingly down that tree. I think you have to be very selective in who you're targeting with them, but I have had their shot with 6 dice pretty consistently get 3 down that tree.
Nice. That's awesome.
And maybe that's variance, maybe that's dice. And a shove 4 damage and a reposition is incredible for mobility. And that was exactly what kind of opened up this 3-swing turn. So both hit their reposition, both absolutely needed it to have this swing turn. But even if you're just attacking into killing something, if they're both attacking the same body, especially if they're able to get into melee, 3 down the tree, 4 damage, shove and pin, and then 4 damage, shove, and second pin is doing 9 damage, 3 successes each attack, which, again, with some pretty reliable expertise, they consistently do their job. And sometimes the job I need them to do is 1 damage and a shove.
Which,
and
they do pretty reliably.
Which they do that exceptionally reliably. 4 dice in defense isn't much. They will die, and they do, if with any targeted focus from attack. But 9 health is just enough units breakpoints that 9 health and steadfast is a pain in the ass. Because a lot of the times the units, specifically secondaries, aren't hitting a 9 health breakpoint and are typically relying on shoves to get something off a point. I think of Rex attacking something, and he's going to get 2 shoves really easily, but 2 shoves down to 1 doesn't always get something off a point. So there's just been a decent amount of circumstances where they're able to just survive on 1 or 2 health and not have been shoved off the point they were standing on. So I think they are one of the best 4 cost supports in the game. I think they are a big piece of an enabling scoundrel focus lists based on their versatility and being added.
Which is wild because going back a year ago,
They were bad.
I don't think
they
any
were
of us had
nothing.
ever put them on
Yeah.
the table.
They were an absolute nothing burger of a unit.
Yeah. And like, what were the changes? It was fairly minimal from what I recall. Like better expertise and one more hit point, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's one more dice in one of their attacks as well.
Yeah. But like all in all, it's not a huge difference. And
Not a
they
huge
went
difference. They were 8
nothing
health
to
before.
one of the best supports in that point cost.
And they can now climb while engaged, which did make raiding party significantly more valuable.
Yes.
That's
a
cool.
one
It
fourth
also makes
climb.
that climb on their expertise actually do something.
Yeah, that's a super
Yes.
cool ability to have in your back pocket, I think.
It is, you're not often going to get that 3 expertise on a 4 dice defense, but I have had them hunkered and get that a couple times now, and wow, that can change how a turn goes.
That's crazy.
So Weekway Pirates, stamped, approved by
Yeah.
Coordinated Fire.
Nice. Awesome.
They're quite good.
They are very good. All right, we're doing a draft thing.
Yeah, this one we wanted to do a little get together for our local guys on the 6th of December. I think it was the 6th. Anyway,
7th.
December.
7th? It was 7th.
December 7th.
Yeah. Okay. And Josh, who was going to be attending, said, "You know what? We've talked about drafting before. Why don't we give it a shot? It's nice and contained. We have a good number of people. It'll be our test to see how we like it. And in this case, we're not drafting our whole team. It's just the primaries. So how he set it up was we laid out all the cards, like all the primaries on a table. We rolled to determine the order. And then we had 1 round of bands followed by 4 rounds of everyone picking a primary. And we did a serpentine. So go 1 through 6 and then back 6 through 1 in that order and just keep going like that. And at the end of it, everybody's got 4 primaries, hopefully a little bit different than what we would see at a standard event. At the very least, you're not going to get any mirror matches. So, yeah, I guess we'll go through our picks.
Yeah, I just want to give, and I know you mentioned it, but just a huge thanks to Josh for organizing this. Josh Pound is one of our locals and a huge resource for the community overall. He's been our main source for 3D prints for most of us, for getting terrain on a table. And yeah, has definitely, I know Titus, you were in this boat too, of just wanting to do a draft format. You mentioned it a long time ago. And it's something we've kind of wanted to do, talked about, and never ended up getting going. And Josh just kind of ran with it on the format and how we were doing it. So huge thanks to Josh for getting this going and for having all his primary unit cards with him for us to do the draft.
That was the most impressive part, because the way, and a little bit more context for listeners here, is that we did this on our local Thursday, and when I got there, Josh had them all laid out on the table, and it was impressive. And the first thing we thought was like, this is all of them? Because when you lay them all out on the table, 42 doesn't look that much, right? That was kind of the initial thing I think we all thought of. The band list, just to put that out there, was Boss, Vader 1, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mandalorian, Cassian Andor, and Kanan was the official band list. I have it up here. So that's what our first round of bands were when we did that.
Yeah, so kicked off the draft with a band run. We started this off from the bottom of draft order to the top to go through bands. I think of that list, the only one that, like, the first pick was Josh's for the bands, and he went Mando right away. And that is the one on this list that I think I was most surprised about.
Yeah, it really threw us all off. I could see him getting banned, but like as number 6 when all the other nasty stuff is
not off
gone.
Hop.
First up was definitely surprising. I was second last for ban order, and I had to ban Boss for myself.
Yeah, we know Ryan
yes.
would have done it if you hadn't.
But if Ryan had to do it at the end, Kanan would have survived. So I think things ended up in the right places. Mando's the only surprising piece of that ban list, I think, for me. I think Kenobi's probably surprising for a lot of people, but you guys all hate me.
Kenobi.
You did?
Yeah, like,
you did.
Yeah.
I would have.
I'm like,
banned
I am
Kenobi
not giving,
if
I'm
you
not
hadn't,
letting Kyle
so.
do this. No way. He was gone.
No, Kenobi
So-
was going. There was no question.
That
Yeah.
feels targeted and hateful. I want to make that clear.
That's all right. That's all right. Titus, what were your picks, buddy?
So, pick one. I scooped Thrawn on Sean
Womp
because
womp. Sad feelings.
Thrawn was something I wanted to play, and I knew Sean would pick him if I didn't. So I was like, okay, I got to take Thrawn right off the
Hate
bat.
drafted me first pick. I can't believe you, man.
But then, well, why don't we just do first pick and then kind of go back and forth? What did you pick, Sean?
My first pick was Han.
And you
Okay.
guys were like the middle of the draft order, right?
Yeah, so it actually
I
went
was number
Kyle
Or
first.
4.
It was Ryan first.
Kyle was number 2.
Yeah.
I was number 3. Sean was number 4. So we were kind of right against each other.
And then it was Brandon, Josh.
Brandon and Josh.
Yes.
Yeah. So Kyle, right before me.
Yeah, I grabbed Freedom Fighter Leia.
So then Kyle picked Freedom Fighter Leia. I picked Thrawn. Sean, you picked
I picked Han.
Han.
Staying on that train.
Yep. So then we get to the end. For some reason, Josh first picked Padme. He obviously had a plan there, but I wouldn't have gone Padme first because I wouldn't think anyone else would take her. And then he scooped Ahsoka on me, which I was sad about.
He did because he was at the end of the draft, so he got a double pick, and he
Yeah.
just took Padme Ahsoka.
Yeah, I'm losing out on Ahsoka 1 made me real cranky. But yeah, so coming back, Sean,
I picked Mother Talzin on my next pick.
and then I took Chirpa because I've been Chirpa curious for a while, and this is a reason to get me into Ewoks. But it was
And
a
I
mistake.
think that was without you thinking that I already had Freedom Fighter Leia, or was
Yes.
thinking maybe I was going to go Rebels with
Yeah,
Freedom
so
Fighter.
I wasn't thinking
Yeah.
about the fact that if you have Freedom Fighter Leia, you're almost certainly taking Logray.
Which I did.
I was just like, ooh, Chirpa, that's exciting.
Yeah, so on the backswing here, I took Logray. So Titus ended up sitting with a lone Chirpa.
Yeah.
While
and
I
a
had-
Thrawn.
and Thrawn. There were some interesting choices through this run. It then came back to me pretty quickly. I had clearly had a first list lined up into what that looks like, but had no idea what I was going to go with for a second. And I took a while on this choice. We didn't have really a clock on this one, but there was a lot of Empire still available. There was also a lot of Republic still available, but I had kind of, since the last GT, had a kind of a mental mission to put Republic down for a bit. But I can tell you the Kiadi that was still sitting there was exceptionally tempting. And I was half expecting, if I took Kiadi here, that the rest of you would take every other Jedi remaining before it got back to me.
It's
That was
possible.
it was a real thought that went through my head. So I've been having fun with the squad. There was still a ton of Empire stuff left over, so I grabbed Grand Inquisitor.
Following that, I went into full panic mode because I went, oh crap, I need to find something to go with Chirpa. And just was like, okay, Mando would be generic. Ah, crap, I can't take Mando. I would love Ahsoka 1. Oh, she's already taken. What else is out there that's kind of generic? Well, I guess Fulcrum has extra force. She's pretty killy, so that might take some heat off the Ewoks. And she has the era needed to take Ewoks. Let's go with Fulcrum. I've never played her before. I've never even seen her on a table. Let's go. So hoping that doesn't backfire on me.
Then my pick, again, I had Han, so I needed another Rebel here. And again, wanting to just play stuff that I haven't really put on the table, right? This is kind of the opportunity. So I grabbed Charming Leia to pair with Han.
Yeah, so Sean, when you made that call, I was like, for what you have so far sitting there with Talzin and sitting there with Han, I actually thought this was just a really smart choice because I think you can make a list for either of them as a pairing. So if you kind of get stuck on
Yes.
the last pick, having just two generic revenge triggers in a format where that is a little limited on some kill power, I think was a really smart pick.
Not only that, but you have the majority of the revenge triggers in the draft because
Yes.
Kanan got banned, Mando got banned, like Ahsoka 1 was taken early. There's not a whole lot else out there after, you got Han, Talzin, and Leia all wrapped up. I've got Chirpa, but that's a little harder to make work.
Yeah, sweet.
You have
So for our last picks, Sean, you went before us.
Yeah. So what I was hoping was Cad Bane. I wanted to have Cad Bane in my list. Brandon, I guess, assumed maybe I would take him and snagged him.
It was-
So then I looked over kind of everybody else and I'm like, Kyle's gonna go Empire something. And so I kind of hate drafted a little bit and I grabbed Vader too. So Kyle wouldn't grab him on the way back.
Is that why you took Vader too?
Pardon?
I was looking at that pick and going like, who are you playing Vader 2 with?
So I was gonna take Maul.
Okay.
So I'll transfer. So I was gonna take Maul, and then I'm looking at like what things do I not want Kyle to have paired with Grand Inquisitor? And I guess in that moment in my brain, I was like, the worst thing he could put with him is probably Vader 2.
Okay.
Not realizing, I guess in that moment that he could also pick Moff as well. So like it was like choosing the worst of two evils, I guess, maybe in my mind.
I kind of made an assumption just playing this through, Sean. I was like, because again, I thought you were making a choice that you were like, okay, Titus has Thrawn and does not have another Empire primary yet.
Right.
And I thought you were just so sure that you were going to take Vader here from me and that you just felt Titus was going to take Moff.
Yeah, I didn't do my part.
Yes.
I let you down. I'm sorry.
That too, yeah, because the natural pairing, and maybe Titus wasn't thinking about that, the natural pairing is Thrawn Moff. And for what we've actually drafted,
especially in the format we're walking into with this draft, right?
Thrawn Moff is actually really good.
Yeah.
It's actually phenomenal.
But Titus is Titus.
Right.
Decided, you know what? This is a lower power draft format.
Fair.
A lot of the nasty stuff's out. I want to go with the meme list. And I picked Lando instead of
Titus.
Gideon, instead of Veers, instead of CT. You know, any like we had lots of Empire left. Krennic was still there, but no. I decided let's go with Lando. 4-Force list. Surely this can't go badly on me. So we're gonna see how that does.
Yeah. Then Kyle,
I'm excited to see how that does, if that helps.
Yeah, I'm too excited too. Once I figure out how to build it.
I think so. It obviously goes to me next, and I do take Moff Gideon. I want you to know, in my deepest heart of hearts, that I had absolutely no thought in any capacity that by the time it got back to me that Moff would still be an option.
Yeah. Yeah,
I actually had Vader 2 as my backup plan for Moff, and then said, okay, even if they take both, I can play G.I. Krennic, I can probably put Vader 3 on a table for the first time. I have a perfectly fine option here, yet it comes back and I still have Moff available. The only option I didn't have that I would have considered here was the Iden box, because Ryan had taken that the previous round. But yeah, so my list ends up with Freedom Fighter Leia, Low Gray, with Moff and Grand Inquisitor, which, to be clear, is a list that I would probably comfortably take to an event. I've never played Ewoks. This will be a first for me, and a newly first for Empire. So a lot of new stuff for me, but I no issues with my list.
Yeah, and just for everybody else, for those listening, Ryan ended up Darth Maul, Iden, General Grievous, and Armorer.
Ryan's gonna murder everything.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm actually scared of Ryan.
Yes.
Like, he's got really good lists.
Brandon ended up Asajj, Cad Bane, Riff, and Hondo. And then Josh ended up Padme, Ahsoka 1, Jin, and Hera, which I'm very interested to see that.
So, real talk, is Brandon going Anchor Riff? Because that's also kind of terrifying. I'm not going to lie.
I believe so.
I believe
yes.
that is the plan, yes.
Because
you can drop comments in the Discord after he listens to this, but I believe he is Riff anchoring here.
Yeah.
But to the point, like, Brandon's list looks fun as hell.
Yeah.
I think there's, with some eras there's going to be some tricky support choices.
I don't know. If you go Asajj Separatists, that opens a lot of options up.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
you could just go Asajj, No Sarai, and Aquas.
Yeah, because Asajj and Cad can play in a Separatist shell, kind of, right? Together.
Yeah, but you could also just go Riff, box, you could go Asajj with either the Grievous box or
Right.
like the secondary support. You could
Yeah.
just go core set Asajj. Those both work pretty well with the Rift box. And then you put Hondo box pretty much.
Honestly, yeah, you could just Hondo
And then
box, and then you could
Cad has his pick of
Yeah.
whatever else is in the game.
Brandon's list is just so flexible in his
Mhm.
list. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, I think he was gonna go heavy bounty hunters the best he could.
Yeah.
I'm most excited to build Brandon's list.
So yeah, for my list, I know we talked about it, but I ended up with Thrawn, Chirpa, Fulcrum, and then Lando. I'm pretty sure Lando's going with Thrawn, but I might chicken out, decide I need more force with Thrawn and go Fulcrum. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You have some options.
Yeah. I full disclosure, I have actually been shadowboxing a couple games, and weirdly, the Thrawn Lando list is the one that isn't running out of force as much. So I don't know what's going on there, but I haven't played Ewoks before. I guess didn't realize how force hungry they are.
Yeah, and interestingly too, hardly any Republic take it.
There's some really good stuff in
Some
there.
really good primaries in the leftovers.
I think a lot of us play Republic a lot, at least a few of us, and we're excited to try some new things. I think they were obvious choices, at least that's how I felt, and I just didn't want to go the obvious thing on the table. Like from a power level perspective, the fact that Kiadi, one, survived the ban, because I personally would have chosen that over Mando.
I was picking between Kiadi and Vader 1, and I just figured Vader 1 is a bit more of a linchpin to that list.
Yep, Kiadi 1 surviving the ban for what we put in there is surprising. Kiadi not being chosen, like Kiadi Anakin just sitting there, I think would have absolutely done very well. But I think a lot of these choices went to things people were excited to try.
I think it's just the vibe we're on right now. Like
Yeah,
we talked
we're-
about Lasso. Like we're post GT season. We're in a different vibe right now. We want to do something different. I'm actually really glad, and I'm gonna give more props to Josh here that he did this, because my intention when I thought about doing this was just like, hey, let's just have like one end of the year, just like super local banger. And he's like, let's do this. And it has really turned it into something that's going to be a ton of fun. It's different. We get to try it out and see if maybe it's something we could do in a bigger capacity next year. So again, big props to Josh.
100%. And I know I'm typically the naysayer of the group on alternative formats. I acknowledge that. And I came into this hesitant and came out really excited.
It was also just a fun social experience, like everybody kind of heckling each other and getting to be there, making the picks together. It was fun.
I think looking at the format, I think based on the amount of primaries we have in the game, the max you could do this with is 8 people.
Yes.
Based on current primary count, I think you would end up with actually a perfect number, or at least close to, after bans, and then everybody getting 4. And then, you end up with 2 primaries remaining unselected. So this is a near perfect number for 8 people to be able to participate in this. And if you have eight locals and you want to do something, I think this is incredible. It guarantees no mirror matches. We kept it primaries to keep it simple. I think that was absolutely the right call. I'm jazzed about this one.
I'm super excited.
Amazing. Cool.
Sweet. All right. Speaking of things I'm excited about, Ministravaganza happened.
Yeah.
It sure did.
I definitely had to walk away for 20 minutes from an event that I was at and just put some headphones in and was able to catch this, but I think we all ended up busier on Saturday than...
I was at the Yorkdale Mall with the family, getting the side eye from the wife. All right, okay.
There was like a big thing happening that happens once a year.
I pre-warned her. I said, listen, around 1 o'clock, I need like 10, 15 minutes.
And you thought that was undercutting it, and here we are.
Yeah. Yes.
No, so I actually want to just tackle that right away, because there's obviously been a lot of chatter with the length of the Shatterpoint Ministrav. And what I will say is, yes, it was shorter than I would have liked to see. I don't think anyone's feeling any other way about that. But they jam-packed those 20 minutes. Like, we could have had the exact same amount of content just stretched out by diving a little deeper into talking about some of that stuff that's coming and talking about some design or some mechanics or experience with the new mission announced and things like that. Like, there's an alternative where we have the exact same amount of content shown that they stretched over an hour. And I think I'd rather have this.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm okay with information dump.
Rather than feeling like they have to fill an hour's worth of time and plugging it with long pans of models, 80 views of models. This is the first 1-day Ministravaganza as well,
Yeah.
which is a new format. I am very cool with rapid fire info. Here's what's coming. Here's what we're doing.
I do think it's a shame that they had to get rid of the painting stream in its entirety, because there was an audience for that.
Yeah, I'll definitely miss, because I think last Ministrav last year, like I just had that stream on for 3 days. But also, if this means there's more time going into developing the game and getting us stuff rather than planning a huge event, would I pro-con weigh that out to, let's focus on getting stuff out for this game? That's definitely where my preference would end up. And again, that's everybody gets their own thing out of hobby games, and I totally acknowledge the importance of that. But at the end of the day, we know over the last, call it 2 years, year and a half, but much more into this year, there has been weird supply chain issues across an incredible amount of industries. There have been some complications with international trade for various reasons without diving into them. And I just kind of understand how we got here.
Yeah, I think it's an amalgamation. Yeah, it's an amalgamation of many things. And
100%.
This is where we're at. Yeah, which is, again, perfectly fine for me.
I think we came out of the Adepticon stream with a relatively similar thing, but we got some stuff to look forward to with this one. As do the people that play other AMG games like Legion and MCP. Both got some very cool stuff in their streams. And I think just full acknowledgement to what the AMG team is able to pump out for all 3 games, given the size of their teams and the capacity they're working with. So credit where credit is due, I think, is important here. But let's dive in to what we saw.
Sweet. Start off with Mr. Balin.
Yeah, so I've never seen so many hunkers on a card before.
Yeah.
So his first ability is
Speaking my language,
a 2 force cost force pull, where he gets a hunker at the end of it, which feels expensive, but the hunker is worth a lot with him. So we'll just keep moving along with that. So he also has a dash where he gets a hunker, defensive maneuver basically, but he can do it twice in a turn. So that's interesting.
Stacking those hunkers. Let's go.
Oh yeah, so far if he spends 4 force, he's got 3 hunkers by the end of it. Now we get more to his passive abilities. He has one where he says any of his units activating, they can choose not to remove their hunkers at the beginning of their turn. Instead, they'll remove them at the end of the turn. And this is useful because you can stockpile them in order to spend for his identity.
Which is?
His identity is, first, characters don't drop hunkers when they are in melee. That's important. They can gain them when they're in melee. Also important. During the modified dice step, on any attack, not just a combat action, any attack, they remove 1 or more of their hunkers and add that many expertise to the attack roll, which, if you've been stockpiling them, adding, say, 3 expertise to your attack roll can be a huge
Yowzer.
buff
That's
to
good.
your attack. Like, there's some characters out there with some crazy expertise breakpoints, and being able to just fine tune that, because it's during the modified dice step, you know what you rolled. So if you already have 2 expertise, you can go, oh, well, I just need to get rid of 1 hunker.
Also, this with Mando belay on 5 damage.
Like, it's amazing.
Did that just click?
I like that. So
Just looking through the game at all the things that have really important breakpoints with the expertise, Balin is going to be able to break those.
yeah, I think you're looking for breakpoints and expertise, and you're looking for things that gain additional hunkers, which is
One thing I did miss, his first passive ability, it also has a secondary part where after setup, and each time an opposing player claims a struggle card, each allied unit gets a hunker, so it's like super camouflage. It's for the whole list.
Can Cassian say each time an opposing player claims a struggle card?
I would love that.
Can that happen? Just saying, we got the wording right here. We kind of nailed it in terms of when this should happen. But no, so I think everybody saw this card and had the same reaction, which is, what can we pair this with? What's going to give out hunkers? And what's going to help with those expertise breaks. I will also note that there's a very important keyword on this card, which is scoundrel, which is going to open up some very cool options. I think the first and foremost, and Sean, you touched on it for a second there, the obvious pairing here is the Mandalorian, right?
Yes.
It's the first one that came to my mind. I imagine we are not alone in that. Mando is able to hand out a bunch of hunkers to scoundrels within an area. Even if you go, and again, there are some pieces we don't know about Balin here, like squad points and how much force and which eras, but kind of assuming he falls into that New Republic era, I think is a fair assumption based on when the Ahsoka TV show happens. So there's going to be some limited things we can take with Balin. I think the base primary in Shatterpoint is 8 squad points, 3 force. So until we know otherwise, I am running on that assumption for what I can take with him.
That's fair. Yeah, for initial reactions, that's fair. Yeah.
So until we know otherwise, and I have to readjust all my plans, let's run with that as an assumption.
I couldn't see him having less force, given he can spend 4 of it on his turn.
Agreed. And honestly, if he's 9, great. We've got some options. It allows, you could take Paz with him for reasons. If he's 7, he's basically stuck with his box and no list building options,
which would suck.
Yeah, so I'm hoping for an 8 here as we go through this. And again, we're going to get to Shin here in a second, who is going to have some great synergy with those hunkers that Balin's letting them keep. We know how much value there is to keeping hunkers just from General Kenobi, even outside of knowledge and defense and the reactive movement that Kenobi gives Republic. Just having those hunkers stay on is a huge increase to defensive output. That's exciting right there. The offensive output you can get from this is huge for breakpoints. I think going into what does he look like in a Mandalorian focused list, I think is a cool question, because if you take him with the Mandalorian with all Mandos certainly have some breakpoints they want to hit on those offensive expertise. I think I look at the coverts and guaranteeing they're getting that is a huge increase in output. So I think there's some super cool options there. I think there's some cool Empire options. And I'm spoiling a bit from my list building, but we know obviously the Moff Gideon box exists in this era. Assuming the Morgan box that we'll get to in a second exists in this era. Again, we have points questions that we'll get to when we know more. But assuming we can mix and match some of those pieces, I think Titus. I think before the cast you mentioned Stormtrooper or Snowtrooper Lieutenant.
Yes,
as a thing, because there's hunker synergies.
More likely is Firebrand, but
Firebrand and the elite squad troopers porting Fire Hunker alongside Empire with Balin as a primary
feels real good.
It feels super cool. I am probably I was already excited for Balin because guys, look at this model. What an imposing figure of a man. And on top of that, I think some of the coolest mechanics that we've seen on a primary in some time.
Oh, 100%. But let's move on to Shin. So the secondary coming with Balin is Shin Hati. And I would actually like to start with her innate because it's super relevant to how her other abilities work. So she can't be placed in reserve, which is kind of the penalty for having what we presume is a strong unit. In exchange, she has immunity to pin and disarm, which is going to make her a lot tougher than 8 hit points would usually seem.
Which also makes her safe to not be reserved because
that too.
The things that would make her a bad activation, she's immune to.
Strain is still a problem. But the important part, when this unit would spend 1 or more force to use an ability, it may remove 1 or more hunkers from itself. If it does, reduce the cost of the ability by each hunker removed. So that's going to be really important for specifically one of her reactions, but I'll read that out in a second. So her first ability, Furious Rush, she gets to dash. If she ends engaged with a character, she can expose them. Super strong, 1 force, but she has to be able to get engaged with them. So some downsides. The one that I'm very interested in is her reactive, trained to be something more. When another allied force user makes a combat action, she can use this ability. She may either reposition or get a hunker token. Then that character may make a 5-die attack, targeting one of the same enemy characters that was attacked by the force user. This costs a force, but you can spend a hunker and then pick a hunker right back up. If you need to reposition, you don't pick up the hunker, but if you're already in melee with whatever it is you want to attack, you're basically getting this for free. It's not even costing you the hunker token because you're just getting it right back. So free 5-dice attacks on things that you're engaged with, it's like snips, but not restricted to supports. It's just force user. Seeing how 7 Scorch are doing with their 5-die attacks, triggering off anybody, I can see this being very, very strong in a force user focused list.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some struggle into building that list. Finding the thing to make it work. You've at least got Balin here. There's definitely some Empire pairings that you could add in, Inquisitors and things like that to get some cool force user options, and I'm immediately running to that in my head, and there's some cool stuff.
She also has a riposte. That's we know what that is. It's a known quantity.
Yeah. I think Shin's gonna live and die off of what her attack tree looks like. I think that's kind of the set standard for 5-dice attacks. If her attack tree looks great, then I think she's going to be very, very powerful overall.
Even more so than her attack tree, her expertise tree. Because I can definitely see a world where knowing this is going to be with Balin, knowing she's going to be making 5-dice attacks, they could give her a really bad expertise tree. They've done that in the past to try to mitigate things. I hope they don't.
But
we'll see
if it's good, which I'm going to run as a base assumption here, because I think I agree. If the attack tree is going to make or break Shin here, if it's good, especially as that expertise good, I'll note that again that Balin's identity does not require that attack to be a combat action.
Yeah.
Which means that 5-dice attack can drop that hunker to get that free expertise, which is great synergy. And real good.
I do also worry about her 8 hit points, but between the immunity to certain conditions that we see early in the tree and also her hopefully consistently having hunkers, I'm optimistic about her defenses holding up. We'll have to see when the stance card comes out though, because if she's got like 3 defense dice or something, we'll see. I'm optimistic. I think she's going to be great, but we don't have all the cards yet, so
yeah. And another scoundrel, which opens up some cool options.
Put her with Hondo.
Not even joking. Yes, give me that. Okay, cool. Moving on to our next fun stuff.
Oh, so of note, we don't have the support for the Balin box yet.
Yeah, that's some questions there too. And what kind of synergies do they have with that identity?
What are their costs? Because I could see Shin being a 5-pointer if she has really good stance tree. I'm expecting 4, but who knows? All right, so there was another box spoiled.
Which we got the whole box minus 1 line.
Yes.
The most annoying 1 line for me ever. I want to know what it is.
Sean, do you want to jump into Morgan?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, if you can do that one.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. All right, so we have Morgan Elsbeth. Her first ability here, Fate has decided our next move. Big block of text here. At the start of this unit's activation, look at the top card of your order deck. Then put that card on the top or bottom of your order deck. If you choose to put the card on the top of your order deck, each character in this unit may dash. Then this unit immediately makes a focus action. If you choose to put the card on the bottom of your order deck, 1 character in each allied Night Sister and Night Trooper unit may heal. If you have no cards in your order deck, choose which effect to resolve.
That's a super cool ability.
It is super cool. It gives order deck manipulation, ability to somewhat choose abilities. This feels very versatile with the healing and everything as well too. It feels like a really, really cool and very versatile ability for me.
Well, yeah, you could also intentionally leave her in reserve to your last activation if you want to have the choice when she goes.
Yes, yeah, and then you get to choose the effect too, so it gives you even more options there. She then has Manipulating Hand. We've seen this on Mother Talzin, which makes sense.
It is the best diceless displacement in the game.
Yeah. Seemingly a very Night Sister ability at this point
Was
for the
Talzin
game.
also range 4?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And again,
Shows how
the
much I've played Talzin.
the chosen character dashes. You resolve this move, and this is interesting. We've kind of touched on this before. You resolving this move can have some interesting implications of where you move them. You can hit an ingress point if you want to make that kind of awkward for the opponent as well too. If an objective's on the ground, you hit an ingress point, put them up. There are some very versatile things that you can do with that dash. And
forcing the
placing.
ingress point turns this into a very long displacement if you can line it up right.
Yes, yeah, extra movement. There's lots of cool things that you can do with this. You will die here alone when a character in this unit makes a melee attack as part of a combat action. If there are no other enemy characters within 2 of the defender, add 3 dice to the attack roll.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I love this. Nobody's around. She gets 3 extra dice. I am dying to see her attacking expertise trees on essentially Vader dice.
Yeah, this is a character holding a big sword. That from what we saw from the Ahsoka show, primarily had melee combat. I would expect one of those attack trees to be kind of a minimum of what she has access to a focus action. Absolute dirt floor minimum is 6 dice. That free focus plus 3 would put her to 10, but that's even like a floor assumption, I think, for a primarily melee sword wielding badass.
Yeah, maybe very, very front-loaded damage, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll see what the tree's like. We've learned in the past that how a unit performs is very make or break on what that tree ends up looking like. But I would be very optimistic to say that one side of this card has a very good melee attack.
I would love to see that. All right, and then her identity, which
the big part.
Yeah, has the line of text missing, but unfortunately, so my loyalty, my life for the sisterhood. While this unit is not wounded, when allied unit within 3 would spend force to use an ability, this unit may suffer damage equal to the cost of the ability instead. Additionally, when this unit becomes wounded, after the effect is resolved, one character in... Nothing else. Yeah.
So here's the thing. In all fairness, you could end that identity with that top line, and I would say that is in a top 5 to 10 primary identities in the game without an additional sentence.
Yeah, we're good.
We are certainly good. And again, based on abilities we've seen in the game, it's when this unit becomes wounded, not an allied unit. Okay, so it's just
it's when she becomes wounded. Yes.
Yeah, so it's just her. This could be a soft revenge attack. This could be heal something. This could be refresh of force. We could speculate all day, but I think there is a limited amount of options in because she has to be dead.
Yeah, I'm not expecting it to be anything crazy. It's this top part here that I think is
off
the part
the charts.
We need to dissect a little bit here.
I'm very curious to see if there's any kind of ruling on whether or not a wounded unit can take advantage of this, because technically a wounded unit can't suffer damage, but they've also ruled in the past
she always takes the damage.
She takes the damage. I misread that. Okay,
I also misread that till right now.
That's a lot riskier than I originally thought.
While this unit is not wounded, when an allied unit within 3 would spend force to use an ability, this unit may suffer damage equal to the cost of the ability instead.
That's way more interesting.
Did we all miss that?
I think we all missed that. Yes.
That's
from the conversations we were just having.
Super
it turns
interesting.
Out, dear Coordinated Fire listeners, literacy is important.
Okay, so if she is stood next to Gorm, she can spend damage.
Everybody else on the internet has also been talking about this as if the unit takes the damage as well. It's not just us. I don't think.
Yeah,
it's her that takes the damage. Okay.
This unit may suffer damage equal to the cost of the ability instead.
Well, hey, we discovered something new live on recording.
So, first and foremost, this means that she can manipulate a hand for 2 damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is very good.
Which is bonkers good. She has a decent health pool. to start. I would be more concerned if she was sitting at 9, and 10 is solid. So again, I think just based on her design here, especially with the mention of Night Sister and Night Trooper in here, I'm going to take a wow, because we can't see her tags, but I think she's going to have Dathomirian, right? She is a Dathomirian.
and she's got to be Galactic Empire too, because like
Well,
the other
and we
two
also see
are,
Empire on the secondary here.
yeah. I
She
think
has to
it's
have
very
Night Sister.
I think it's very safe. Dathomirian, Galactic Empire, and maybe
Oh, she might have.
third
You say
one.
She has to have Night Sister.
Yeah, Night Sister. Yeah, it's just got to be Galactic Empire, Dathomirian, Night Sister. I would think.
okay, yeah.
She might have one other, but that seems like enough.
So we have some immediate options, and we'll get through the rest of the box here in a second. But I think, you're looking at list building with her in kind of 3 different ways. One is, okay, let's go Empire focused. We're going to have some Stormtrooper synergy with the rest of this box here. That's option 1. With box as is, and go that direction. We're going to have the Dathomirian direction to pair this with Talzin. I can say that both Talzin and Savage really like to take damage instead of spending force on their abilities by a lot. And again, Night Sisters are one of our last ways to get coordinated fire exposed across this whole box. So
until we had our little revelation here, I was kind of lower on terms of Night Sister synergies. It might be a little bit different now to pair her with Talzin.
Well, because you don't want to give Night Sisters 2 damage. That puts them in instant wound territory.
Yeah.
Now, of note, the Night Sisters can't coordinated fire expose for either of the other 2 units in this box. Neither of them are Dathomirian.
Yeah, that's awkward.
It's still very good.
Yep.
Yeah. Enoch, Captain of the Guard, by your command, Grand Admiral, for a force, choose another allied Stormtrooper character. The chosen character may dash. Then, if the chosen character is a Night Trooper, one character in this unit may dash. Seems pretty good. Movement for himself and a friend. That's always solid. A coordinated fire strain. So we have another Galactic Empire unit with coordinated fire strain along with the Dark Troopers. I think this is actually really cool. This is really good. And then die well. When a character in this unit or an allied Stormtrooper supporting character within 5 makes a melee attack as part of a combat action. Before dice are rolled, this unit, and they use this ability, the attacker and the defender each gain exposed.
That's going to be wild in Empire.
I think so as well, too. I love this with Death Troopers in particular.
I love this with Vader 1.
Allied Stormtrooper supporting character.
If you're putting a Stormtrooper in melee, they could take 2 damage and expose themselves to roll 3 extra dice and expose their opponent.
That's fair.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's going to be a crazy melee attack.
That is fair. Yeah, amazing.
9 health on the secondary here. I'm curious to see point values once we hit here. That, I know, only 3 abilities, good ones, decent. Attack trees are going to make or break, whether that's 3 or 4. I think is what we need to wait and see. But the Night Troopers here, moving on to the next card, do a whole lot.
Whole lot of text here. Strap in. All right, so first ability, Dark Innervation for a force. Each character in this unit may dash. If this unit has 1 or more injured tokens, each character in this unit may instead advance. Great.
Right, we got fast zombies. Let's go.
Fast zombies for a force. Unnatural vigor. When a character in this unit defends during the modified dice roll step, this unit may this ability change 1 expertise result in the attack roll to a fail result. Then for each injured token this unit has, change 1 additional expertise result in the attack roll to a fail result. I like this. This seems good. Expertise to fails. Animated beyond death. When another allied Stormtrooper unit becomes wounded, if 1 or more non-wounded allied and sister primary characters are within 5 of this unit removes all its injured tokens. This is, I think, one of the more highly discussed abilities on this unit. And then lastly, Undying Loyalty. While this unit has 1 or more injured tokens, this unit's order card cannot be placed in reserve. See that again. And opposing players do not gain momentum when this unit becomes wounded. Additionally, when this unit becomes wounded by an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, this unit gains an injured token. Then it removes 1 wounded token, all damage, and 1 condition from itself. After resolving this effect, If this unit's order card is in reserve, shuffle it into your order deck.
So they just straight up don't go down ever.
Yeah, so the
Very tough.
animated Beyond Death is interesting because on a read, so it's when another allied stormtrooper unit becomes wounded. So we obviously want other stormtroopers in the list to
Means
increase
it's
the
really
chance of
hard to
triggering
put
this.
it in a list with Talzin.
Yeah, because you also want to be within a non-wounded allied Night Sister primary within 5. Talzin has a Night Sister keyword, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Her and the
Okay.
Night Sister acolytes both have it. But the problem is, if you take them with Talzin, you don't have other stormtroopers outside of Enoch, which makes it very easy to play around.
Which you can play around. Yes. So to the point, Sean, I think you made at the beginning, you're leaning towards more of that Stormtrooper Empire.
Yeah, so my first 2 try lists are Morgan Elspeth with Thrawn and then Morgan with Krennic are where I'm going to start.
Yeah, and Enoch's by your command Grand Admiral tells me that this was built to be played with Thrawn.
100%.
The themes here, Thrawn moving around a support unit that can basically not die.
That can always be up.
And Thrawn can absolutely guarantee that they end up within 5 of a Night Sister primary.
And
Yes,
if by
through both
some
battle tactics.
happenstance you do end up with them double wounded and ready to go off the table, occasionally Thrawn is going to say, shuffle the deck.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. And again, Morgan's first ability here, too, that I love when the Night Sister or the Night Trooper may heal, we're keeping pins off of stuff, which in a movement list with Thrawn you want to be doing. And also, too, one of the main battle tactics on the advance with Thrawn, the unit has to eat a strain. And that has always been, Kyle, problematic with that battle tactic.
That heal here.
Yeah, with that heal here, it's just, boom, thank you very much, got my movement, remove my strain, please. Thank you very much. Very flexible with Thrawn here, I think, is again, it's the first place I'll be going with this.
I think they're flexible with like any sort of movement heavy list. Like they just seem really good.
Yeah, like if you're going Empire, you want as many stormtroopers in your list as you can. But I could see that being Thrawn. Sean, you mentioned Krennic. I could even see like Moff, DT, insert stormtrooper supportive choice here.
Yeah.
Death Troopers, I would say, would probably be the choice there.
Yeah. Versatility wise, but I don't.
Also, just in terms of having them with Enoch, I think the Death Troopers are a really good pick.
Yes, because they have the better melee attack for sure.
They melee attack and they have impact. Yeah, I love Death Troopers with Enoch.
Yeah, in the Thrawn list, I'd be tempted at Shores because moving around Protection and Steadfast feels really good. I think as the obviously the Empire player here, I love this box. I really, really like it. I think it brings a lot of interesting things, versatility, new mechanics. I'm super excited to get this one on the table. Yeah, maybe this is the key to getting Stormtrooper tag, kind of just that last nudge it needs to bring a viable list. I think with the Night Trooper's ability, even if, again, let's go with the same assumption we made for Baylan, that she is an 8/3, because again, that is our Shatterpoint baseline. If this box is 8, with them requiring the Night Sister primary on Animated Beyond Death, you are taking this box as is. I don't think there is list building options here.
Yeah, no, I don't think there is. No, you're stuck within the box.
I feel like Morgan might be able to take other things.
Yeah, Morgan might be able to take other things.
But I don't think these guys want to be away from Morgan.
No, there's a lot of potential force to spend here too, which is helpful with Morgan.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, really, really cool box. Can't wait to see the attack and expertise trees on that one.
Plus, all 3 models in this box are incredible.
Looks sick.
Yes.
Wow, are these amazing. So just excited to hobby alone. I think both Baylan and Morgan are must-buy boxes for all 3 of us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. Based on all the things we like. Baylan for me, for sure, but I am more and more having fun with Empire the more I play around with. So
it's a fun faction.
All right. What else do we have? Because those are 2, honestly, incredible looking boxes.
So we had some boxes spoiled with no details about them. Do we even want to cover those or just move on to the information we do have?
Let's briefly go over. I don't want to do too deep here, but
Sequel era.
we are
So
getting
bas-
sequel era stuff.
Yeah.
So first they showed off Rey, Finn, Han, and
Han.
Chewie.
Yeah, Han, yeah.
Old Han and
Finn.
Chewie.
Old Han and Chewie. So I think let's just kind of touch. I'm not surprised we jumped into sequel era here, nor am I against it, honestly.
I'm excited.
It's fun.
You know,
yeah.
I think this was kind of on my bingo card. I wasn't here for our predictions episode that you guys got to go through. But with Disney just announcing weeks ago that they are diving more into the sequel trilogy era with some more movies, shows, all the kind of things they have on the roadmap. Obviously, Shatterpoint development is not AMG's choice alone. Disney and Lucasfilm have a lot to say in what they do or don't do. So lining this up with some more sequel stuff, I think makes a ton of sense if we're going to keep playing with things in that era. This is where it makes sense to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The next box, Poe, and I did look up Zori Bliss is the
Sure.
secondary.
That's a name I definitely
that sounds
remember
familiar now that
from
you
a-
say
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, Zori Bliss.
Yep.
And then I am unsure of, I'm assuming some sort of
I think they're just resistance troopers.
Resistance troopers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we were racking our brains on who this young lady's name was before the cast. Zori Bliss.
If you put her starship in front of me, I'd probably remember her from the X-Wing days.
There you
but,
go.
That's so reasonable. Honestly, I think people's opinions of the sequel trilogy are well and abound out there in the world. But if you were to pick, I actually think Force Awakens and The Last Jedi are perfectly serviceable movies. I had fun seeing them. I have watched them again since theatrical releases, have watched through them. My memory of the third movie in that trilogy is very few and far between.
They are my son's entry point into Star Wars. We took my son to the December release in his Christmas pajamas to the movie theater to see The Force Awakens.
Yeah, so I actually, Sean, I want to touch on that because that's important.
100% it is.
Because I remember being a kid going through the prequel movies and the adults in my life all telling me how bad they were. And that didn't feel good. And
Yeah.
I still love those movies. I love those movies today. It is my favorite era of Star Wars. I definitely had watched the original trilogy when I was younger before I watched these. That's why I was excited to go to theaters to watch these new Star Wars movies from these very worn out VHSs that I had scattered on my floor at home, and going through and just heard a lot of noise about how bad these were, how these new characters weren't good, blah, 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 blah. So when I talk about these movies, I think I go in with the context that these weren't made for me. And that's totally okay because they're perfectly serviceable. I had a perfectly fine time watching them. But this was the next generation's introduction to Star Wars. And the quality of that introduction actually is irrelevant. It is why another generation are going to play games like Shatterpoint, that are going to jump into card games like Unlimited and enjoy all the things that we've gotten to enjoy about Star Wars from a different perspective. And that is
100%.
just cool.
Yeah. And on
Amen,
top of
brother.
that,
I love it. Oh, it's good.
I also just want to be careful about like the things we do say about them, because I remember as a kid, much like you said, people complaining about the quality and various different aspects of the movies. And as a kid looking at the original trilogy and going, but like, have you not watched these movies? They have the exact same problems. Like it's like when you have those, like you're always going to love the ones that brought you into the series. So we should keep in mind that, we have our own rose-tinted glasses, right?
So as you all prepare to write Titus hate mail now, please
I don't
remember
know.
that it's
George
important.
Lucas has even said he's not good at dialogue.
No,
That's
dialogue
always
is
been a
not
problem.
a strong point in Star Wars, start to finish. I completely agree.
All right. I'm gonna reel this back in off this tangent here so we can keep going. All right, our next box here, Captain Phasma, along with some First Order troopers here, secondary looking like holding another flamethrower similar to Firebrand, and then
Second
a couple.
time's the charm.
Yeah, maybe it'll hit this time, and then a couple of First Order troopers.
Yep.
That is the next box.
And by the models, there's just 2 different models for Phasma by the looks of things there.
Yes, there is. Yeah, there's one with a staff and one with a blaster.
I'm guessing those are
super cool.
I would assume those are just arm options, or maybe they're. Yeah, I would guess those are arm options.
Yep.
I wanted to show off both.
And then for sequel trilogy, there was a Kylo Ren box, but no photos shown. Rumor has it is Kylo FN 2199 and Riot Control.
Yeah, I think that was
Troopers?
said.
Yeah, I actually didn't see or I haven't heard it, but that is
The
kind of
article that they
what that
posted
is.
mentioned it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's been confirmed.
And then one that I know Kyle's not gonna purchase at all. He's not interested in this one. Qui-Gon with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Palace Guards.
And Captain Panaka.
And Captain Panaka.
And
Let's
Captain
go.
Panaka.
Yeah, I think looking at that box, my assumption is that Panaka and OB3, which he will forever be known by,
Interchangeable secondaries.
are 2 secondary options is kind of my assumption based on the box there. I am so excited for this box. Qui-Gon is definitively the coolest Jedi, at least in films. And I will die on that hill right now.
6 to midnight for Kyle on that box.
But let's go. Give me this right now. I want Padme synergy with the troopers and Panaka. Give him like a rule that's like handmaiden guard. I don't know.
Just
Give me
tag them
something.
handmaiden.
I need
Just
Padme
bite the
buffs.
bullet and tag them handmaiden.
Awesome.
This is
Sweet.
my handmaiden, Captain
All right.
Panaka.
Let's wrap it up here and talk about this mission. I really, really like this new mission. I think this mission is very cool. It's very strategic. We are seeing double priority tokens here on this one. It's called strategic positions as well too. Each flip has a strategic position. So example here, defensive position, when a character is within 2 of 1 or more inactive objectives, has cover 1. There's another one here, get a dash when not near inactive objectives. Impact 1, sharpshooter 1. So the not being near active objectives and being near inactives is very relevant here, which I think is super cool. And notably too, you have to hold both active objectives to get an extra struggle point.
Both priority objectives, yeah.
You have to hold both. I think this is going to be one that's going to really, really stretch some tactical abilities. I think characters and units with tactic abilities are going to be really good here as well too, because as Tess and I discussed, I think you mentioned about stacking tactics along with these strategic position abilities is going to be really interesting as well.
So I'm going to make a prediction. I think the 3 tactical advantages that we were shown, I think that might be all they have. I'm going to predict that you get those 3 on the 3 options for all 3 struggles. Kind of the way that Sabotage Showdown is.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair.
Ooh, okay.
That's fair.
Where it's the same 3 options all the way through.
9 objectives here, I think in a very, very cool and interesting pattern. 4 right in the center, a little bit of a death donut as we called it with Sabotage, and then 4 on the outside, maybe for your more movement heavy units to be able to go and grab.
Yeah, I think this opens up both styles of movement lists kind of to be able to play, right? You can have that list that's very much is I'm going to control this center very heavily, or you can go some heavy movement and go for those outside objectives that, you know, some lists might struggle to get to in certain cases. I am curious, I haven't laid it out yet. Is 4-2 longer than 5?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
4-2 is what we have on odds.
Is 4-2 what we have on odds?
No, not odds.
Is it? No, odds is 5-2. Yeah.
Huh.
I have some checking to do.
Where is Dylan? Where is Dylan when you need him? Dylan, we need your shorts on this mission immediately, please.
Yeah, and First Contact's 3 and 3. Yeah, I think this is going to create some interesting ones because I did think when looking at it that this was closer than the other 2 missions that have something further away. And I think it might create cases where you can't, because the side objectives are only 3 in. So you might be able to contest the mid if you're straight on, but you can't hit both still without infiltrate.
Yeah, I think that's accurate, actually.
But I want to do some testing on layouts because this is some spread out mission that we don't have context for as it currently stands based on the other setups. This also might be the first case, if it's out on a standard deployment, where a big base is the difference on whether you can contest the start or not.
Grievous supremacy.
Ooh.
Because I would actually
Droids.
put money definitively that a big base deployment can absolutely hit that center if standard deployment can't.
I would go a little bit further and say Grievous with big base supports might be able to double contest.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure. Maybe. Is this the mission that gives Separatist and Ewok advantages?
Now
I
we're talking
don't
spicy.
know that Ewoks would have enough without the big base primary.
Titus, we're gonna need to do some measurements.
Awesome. Cool.
Sean, I echo your points though. I'm super excited for this mission. I think it's a great
Mhm.
design. I think giving inactive objectives things to do is exceptionally interesting design. I think makes struggle flips really interesting.
It makes
Because
those
you've got-
activations where you can't reach something still relevant.
Yeah, super jazzed. 10 out of 10. Excited to see it in action.
Yeah. Bring it to the Discord. What are you excited for out of the new stuff here? What are you looking to play? What are you looking to pair it with? We're super jazzed for all this new stuff, and we'd love for you to share it with us in our Coordinate Fire Discord.
Let's talk about those lists. The link to the Discord is always in the show notes for those that have picked this episode as their first to listen to. Join on in and join the conversation. Again, there's been great stuff happening in there. I am excited to kind of catch up because I have been super busy, but I know there's been some conversation spikes in there that I have wanted to go back and read through, which I plan on doing. So awesome. Have a great night, guys.
Yeah,
Thank
have a
you.
good
Good
night.
night, everybody. Appreciate you listening.